The amount of work that parents and students have to go through in preparation for GSAT. And I can tell you that very few parents get involved in the lives of their kids at grade 10 and 11.
Well, with the 2016-2017 new school year fast approaching, let's commit to changing that. Welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. In today's show, we hear the views of a few parents on how they plan to be more involved in their children's education this school year. Plus, how safe and secure are our schools? Get the update from our leaders. Stay with us. All this and more unfold after this important message and the news.
The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is committed to ensuring that every Jamaican child has the best learning environment to thrive and needs your cooperation to make the education system work successfully.
What are the school's voluntary contributions for?
Co-curricular and sports activities and school development.
What amount are parents to contribute?
Your contributions are voluntary and the amount depends on the type of programs being offered by the school.
If my child is being denied access to school, can I complain to the ministry?
Yes. You can call or visit any of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's 6 regional offices or send an email to complaints@moey.gov.jm.
What support is there for PATH students?
PATH students are not expected to make contributions and are to be provided with 5 days free lunch as of this year.
Parents and guardians, do continue to make your voluntary financial contributions to your children's school. The institutions need your assistance for their school development and sporting activities. Remember, every child can learn. Every child must learn.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Tuesday, August 23. The National Security Council NSC is formulating a strategic anti-crime action plan to be delivered by October 2016. The plan is to involve an integrated and comprehensive set of measures and actions to significantly reduce crime on the island. The council, which is chaired by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, comprises cabinet members, the Attorney General, the JDF Chief of Defence Staff, and the Commissioner of Police. They have been meeting monthly and holding consultations to arrive at a comprehensive plan to be submitted for cabinet approval. The NSC says it is focusing on a wide range of interrelated areas to tackle violent crime, crimes involving the use of firearms and lottery scamming. Among them, increasing security personnel, their mobility and basis of operation, as well as boosting the investigative, prosecutorial and legislative systems to deal with crime. Meanwhile, residents of 6 inner-city communities are to benefit from a crime prevention program dubbed Fight for Peace. The 7 to 29-year-olds come from Hannahtown, Denhamtown, Trenchtown, Fletcher's Land, Parade Gardens and Tivoli Gardens in Kingston. The $20.7 million program is being undertaken by the Citizen Security and Justice Program CSJP with funding from the UK's Department for International Development, DFID. The project will be delivered with the help of a number of partners. It will use sport, education, employability, youth leadership and supporting services to help inner-city youth realize their potential. At Saturday's agreement signing, which also served as an open day for Kick Out Crime and Violence, the State Minister for National Security stressed the state's support for the program.
This is an opportunity, not just for us at the ministry, to really hold hands with you, Fight for Peace and DFID, as we engage our youth and empower our youth to become the ambassadors.
Shifting gears now. Finance Minister Audley Shaw is calling for increased access to formal credit needs for micro, small and medium enterprises.
We have to use this moment as a point of departure to say to people there can be a legitimate path to wealth creation. It doesn't have to be a lot of scamming. That has to go. And it has to be replaced by legitimate business. And it can only be replaced by legitimate business if we have legitimate access to credit on a sustainable basis where good ideas, good plans come forward. We need to encourage that environment.
Minister Shaw was speaking recently at the groundbreaking for the National Commercial Bank's Banking and Financial Services Center at the Fairview Complex in Montego Bay. He used the groundbreaking to encourage other financial institutions to follow suit.
I've directed the Bank of Jamaica to lead the path towards what I call creating a financial inclusion strategy, where we can, on a formal, structured, research-oriented, focused basis, find a way to get more access to credit to the small and medium enterprises.
The Ministry of Health is expected to receive a submission from an expert group by September to see to the proper care and support for children born with birth defects associated with the Zika virus. The expert group consists of a neuropsychologist, pediatric psychologist, child psychiatrist, pediatric neurologist, behavioral pediatrician, and an early childhood education specialist. In the meantime, the Health Ministry continues to urge the public to identify and destroy mosquito breeding sites and take precautions to avoid being bitten by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Pregnant women have been encouraged to get regular antenatal checkups, and suspected Zika-positive pregnant women are being referred to high-risk antenatal clinics island-wide. Zika has been linked to microcephaly, a birth defect where babies are born with small heads, as well as Guillain-Barré syndrome, a neurological disorder resulting in weakness of various muscle groups. And finally, the Ministry of Education is to review the period of study leave given to high school students preparing for exit examinations. Minister Ruel Reid made the disclosure at the CXC, CSEC and Cape Results press briefing last Thursday. He asserted that study leave may not be a productive initiative.
During those few critical weeks prior to the exam, these students are on their own. So they would have had the benefit of the disciplined environment at school, but now they're all anxious to go home. What kind of preparation are they doing at home? Because after they leave home, they now come to sit the exam.
The minister, meanwhile, is imploring parents of high school students to become more involved in their children's lives and show the same level of interest as shown at the primary school level.
And the amount of work that parents and students have to go through in preparation for GSAT. And I can tell you that very few parents get involved in the lives of their kids at grade 10 and 11. It's all left up to the students alone. They're not up with them at nights. They're not ensuring that they're doing the homework. They're doing the preparatory work. So it can't be left entirely up to the school and the teachers.
And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thank you for watching.
This is Ramin Verga. I'm here appeal to all of the youths them to just stay away from crime and violence. We know the temptation, the money, the fast life. People say them rate you, but that will only take you nowhere. If you stay in school and focus, then you can achieve anything. Be your own leader. A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Ensuring a safe environment for all Jamaicans, especially in our institutions of learning, is a major priority for our government. As you'll see in this next feature, it's part of the strategy towards making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
We all know that the youth are and will remain a significant share of Jamaica's population for the foreseeable future. Developing and implementing appropriate strategies, policies, and programs to mitigate the risks and challenges they face must and is a priority of this administration. Any failure to provide appropriate opportunities for this large segment of the population could have enormous economic, political, cultural, and social consequences. Engaging the youth population fully is therefore no longer a choice, but an imperative in the development process in taking Jamaica from poverty to prosperity, and with extension to fully develop Jamaica, our island home. In order to ensure not only the important safety of our youth, but we have put in place a 5-pillar strategy to ensure the safety and security of our nation in the years to come.
Safety and security is a function of the values and attitudes in the society. Our actions are driven by values, and therefore, if we were to re-engineer in Jamaica a culture of respect, sanctity of life, a culture of how we resolve our conflicts peaceably, then what a Jamaica we would have. And a culture of working, a culture of doing things in a very ethical way, no scamming, not following the law. That is the kind of society that we want. And it all comes down to the values that we hold dearly. The educators, therefore, in the audience will appreciate the counteractive influence that the society and in the home, the community, and via the media in all its forms has on the teaching and learning process. At the school level, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has introduced a suite of behavioral management programs aimed at promoting positive socialization, behavior change, and ultimately education. Programs all fall under the framework of the school-wide positive behavior intervention support system. Through this framework, teachers are adopting positive approaches to improve student behavior and attitude to learning. In addition to the behavior management programs, the ministry also has been promoting the formation of uniform groups in schools.
We are at the point in our life as a country where far too many of the maladies of our society are mirrored in our schools. I am afraid that the guidance counselors, the deans of discipline, the school resource officers, and other officials who volunteer to help in the schools, I'm afraid they will not be sufficient to curb indiscipline and delinquency that is so evident in many of our schools today. It will require innovative initiatives and partnerships like this conference to disrupt the trajectory that is taking us as a country to the brink. Indeed, if we truly want to transform our country, the school and the home are where we must start. This conference, this partnership, represent a good start.
Let us all work together to build this great nation, Jamaica, land we love.
If you still haven't gotten all your child's textbooks or want to help others with theirs, the GIS Book Exchange program remains open. Donate, exchange, or share textbooks that you no longer need, whether they are new or used. For infant, primary, high, or even university students, exchange or share your books. Pass them on to those that need them. Drop them off at GIS's head office on 58A Halfway Tree Road or email pr@gis.gov.jm to make arrangements for drop-off. For further information, contact the Public Relations and Marketing Department at 9291919 or 926359024. Join the mission and be a part of the GIS Book Exchange initiative.
You've got to start at ABC. At the top of the show, you heard the Education Minister comment on how some parents are not involved in their children's education at the high school level. So we went out a road and put the question to some parents, asking how they could assist their children in the learning process.
Work with that child to take them away from the negative and put them in the positive. So therefore, at the end of the day, it will be positive for both you and that child.
Teach them, help them with them reading book and them maths book, learn them to do a lot of things.
When we get the school book, we buy them the school list, the book list. We buy them early and encourage them to read, through the books to make sure that when they go to school and teacher put the work on the board or ask them to do the work in the book, they already know the answers.
By assisting him with his textbooks, by learning toys and stuff like that.
We have championed e-learning in Jamaica, provided state-of-the-art technology in over 200 educational institutions, developed materials for CSEC, piloted the Tablets in Schools project in 38 schools, including infant and primary, and trained thousands of teachers in technology integration. We are e-Learning Jamaica Company Limited, ELJAM, an agency of the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. Visit our website, www.elearnja.org.
So it's 2 weeks before the official start of the new school year, and some parents are caught up doing last-minute shopping. Many are trying to get a bargain and save some money where possible. The Consumer Affairs Commission offers you some vital tips.
Generally finding enough money to buy everything that the kids need. That's the biggest challenge, because the book list these days are long.
Getting the right thing at the right price. But to back to school, I'm kind of raise the price. That's the thing right now.
High price are one of the main problems, and sometimes the book list too long.
Shopping for back to school can be a challenge for many parents, and it does in fact affect their pockets. So how can they get what they need but at the same time stay within their budget? We're at the Consumer Affairs Commission to get some vital tips to help you. Communications specialist at the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, Dorothy Campbell, has a wealth of knowledge on this matter. And so we put the question to her. What's the most important thing parents can do when seeking to shop for back to school on a budget?
What we've asked them to do is to plan ahead. So you plan by collecting a list from the schools of exactly what is required. You plan your transportation route, if you're driving, if you're taking the bus. And you also plan how much you have to spend. So you use that list to prioritize what are the needs, what are the wants, what are the must-haves for the first couple of weeks at school. And then from then you determine what is the total cost and how much you have to spend.
Okay, so plan and prioritize. But how do parents even go about deciding the needs from the wants?
The CAC recommends that the parents divide the needs. So you'll have the needs that are, say, uniforms, school shoes, bags, that kind of thing. But you also have some needs prior to getting into school, which are medical examinations, eye tests, because your child might need glasses. You know, some of those things that you might have to do prior to going into back to school shopping. And then you determine what is the best option. Do you need to buy a new pair of school shoes the first month or the first 6 weeks of school? But I think what parents are going to focus mostly on is getting the kids ready in terms of their books. So those are some of the things that we say, try and go get those books first and then determine whether you'll need newer items like shoes and socks and belts and epaulets and ties and so on. But those are necessary if it's a new school. But if it's a repeat, if you're going back to your old school, you just need to top up. Maybe a new uniform or repair the shoes or something like that.
A good reminder that not everything needs to be new. Perhaps one of the most painstaking challenges for back to school is dealing with the matter of textbook shopping.
When you go in, you expect to find something at one price, but you go to another store and you see it at a totally different price, and so people may feel a bit of remorse saying they pay so much here when they could have get it cheaper somewhere else.
Well, there's no need for remorse if parents and other consumers make use of the wonderful and effective tools available to them at the CAC.
The biggest thing on our brag list is our annual textbook survey, and we've been doing it for 20 years. So the research unit is, they're really efficient at this. So that's what we do every year, and we use that to help consumers to go to the website for those who have access and or call the CAC to get information about where the books are available, what is the average price for those books, and so on.
In addition to the survey, there is also a price comparison tool.
The price comparison tool is available on our website, and you can go in, select the items, fill your basket based on what you have to spend, and determine exactly whether you want to get your science books from this particular store because the prices are low.
In addition to all of that, a tried and true tested way of cutting costs is getting used books. Many schools, churches, and other organizations often undertake book drives that you could look into.
So you can get some of those books at reduced prices.
And don't be afraid to ask around.
Ask your friends, where did you get the khaki uniforms? Where did you get the shoes? Where did you get, these supplies? And you compare those prices, the stores that are either closer to home or closer to your office or your job.
Any other advice, any other tips that you want to share?
Don't get overwhelmed by the book list or by the requirements. Just try to prepare that child for the first 2 weeks of school. Just think about the first 2 weeks of school and get him ready.
So you heard you can get your back to school necessities but still stay within budget. For more information, you can contact the Consumer Affairs Commission or simply visit their office right here at 34A Trafalgar Road, New Kingston.
Hi, I'm Chris Tufton, Jamaica's Minister of Health. Zika virus threatens all of us, but as individuals, we have the power to protect ourselves. 75% of mosquito breeding sites are found in and around our homes. So if we all do our part in getting rid of these mosquito breeding sites, we will reduce the risk of becoming infected. It's our responsibility. Individual action is key. Let's fight ZIKV.
All the people then when I want ZIKV, hold up your hand. ZIKV in the Caribbean territory, but we now want that virus take set pan we. So make sure send no stagnant water inside and mash up all mosquito breeding site. More hole in the tin them where you dash way and change the water in your vase every day. No litter, dispose of your garbage proper. You know them the thing that we turn drain blacker. Tour your community and tour your yard for suppress mosquito. We have figure hard. Dash we old tire turn over drum pan for prevention is the greatest weapon. And special shout out to pregnant ladies. Protect yourselves and protect your babies. Draw for your zapper and your mosquito spray. If you do all that we can to keep them away. For we know war ZIKV.
As persons continue to be affected by ZIKV and its health complications, we take a more in-depth look at the virus in today's HealthWise.
Zika is a disease caused by a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The virus was first isolated in 1945 during a study of wild yellow fever in a rhesus monkey in the Zika forest in Uganda. It was isolated in humans in 1952 and detected in human blood samples 16 years later. Over the years, there have been outbreaks of Zika virus fever in Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands, and more recently in the Americas. Jamaica had one case, its first in late January 2016, reported in a young child who had recently traveled overseas. The Zika virus is spread when a female Aedes aegypti mosquito gets infected by feeding on someone with the virus and later transferring it to the other people it bites. This breed of mosquito is common in Jamaica and is also a vector for dengue and chikungunya. Recent information has suggested that Zika may also be spread through sexual contact, though rare. Symptoms of Zika are similar to those of dengue and chikungunya. They commonly include fever, rash, joint pain, and red eyes. Other symptoms are muscle pain, headache, pain behind the eyes, and vomiting. Zika symptoms are usually mild, lasting from several days to a week, and most severe cases are usually linked to persons with other pre-existing conditions.
We are clear that infants, the elderly, and persons with non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, arthritis, and so on, compromised immune systems are at greater risk for more symptoms, and so we urge that special effort be made to protect this group in particular.
To date, no deaths attributed to Zika virus infection have been reported in any of the outbreaks.
But we certainly recognize that other complications like Guillain-Barré syndrome may be present, and we are equipped at this time to manage any such case that would be coming up in the near future.
That complication, which is rare, occurs when the immune systems of infected persons make antibodies to try to destroy the virus, which then cross-reacts with proteins on nerve cells called dendrites, damaging these nerves.
The only way now to treat that is to filter your blood from your own antibodies. We call it plasmapheresis.
Tell your healthcare provider if you have recently traveled.
It's a class 1 notifiable. They must notify us. It's a class 1 notifiable disease, so within 24 hours of suspecting, then they need to send forward that patient for blood work.
Once the Ministry of Health is advised, that blood sample will be sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency for lab testing free of cost to the patient. There is no vaccine to prevent or medicine to treat Zika, but the symptoms can be treated. This involves getting plenty of rest, drinking fluids to prevent dehydration, and taking medicines such as paracetamol to relieve fever and pain. Aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs should be avoided until dengue can be ruled out to reduce the risk of hemorrhage. First reported in Brazil, recent Zika outbreaks have been linked to increased cases of microcephaly in newborn babies whose mothers were infected early in their pregnancy.
This is merely what they call a temporal association, so there's no scientific evidence at this time to suggest causation. And so there's a little that we know and a lot that we don't know. But based on the potential outcome of the child, microcephaly, significant brain damage, with subsequent loss of life possibly, and certainly a decreased quality of life, we think it's warranted to warn women to, if they can, prevent getting pregnant at this time. We review that as the information comes out.
Women who are pregnant or planning to become pregnant are also urged to be vigilant against being bitten by mosquitoes. The World Health Organization is researching claims that mothers already infected with Zika can pass on the virus to their newborns around the time of birth. As for transmission through breastfeeding, there have been no such reports to date. Zika is a threat to everyone, and we must all do our best to prevent the spread by destroying the breeding sites of the Aedes aegypti mosquito and avoid getting bitten.
PBCJ Symposium 2016. Public Broadcasting, Agenda for the Future.
Come and join PBC Jamaica as it hosts its first symposium at the Jamaica Conference Center, October 18 to 20, 2016.
Grab your chance to interact with internationally acclaimed and local media practitioners, students, communication consultants, policymakers, and regulators.
Let your voice be heard in discussions about the role of public broadcasting in education and social issues.
Learn about innovative digital technology and public broadcasting systems from the major players in the field, based locally and abroad.
It's PBCJ Symposium 2016. Public Broadcasting, Agenda for the Future.
For registration and additional information, go to symposium.pbcjamaica.org.
We've come to the end of another informative program, but keep the conversation going on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. You may also send your emails to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm. Plus, visit our website, gis.gov.jm, and download our news app from the Google and Apple Play stores. I'm Theodore Henry, and on behalf of the hard-working GIS team, thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.